Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, July 19th, in the year 2023, and welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, and memetic warfare, and we bring on Bitcoiners from all around the world, from the biggest names to the everyday Bitcoiner. We got them all, and we will be your guide through the separation of money and state. And a constant theme the last couple of days, guys, actually the last couple of weeks, has been the idea of not only Bitcoiners, but people adjacent to Bitcoin pushing the Overton window, whether it's corporate press, whether it's presidential candidates, whether it's pop culture, TV, movies, all that stuff, talking about Bitcoin. The Overton window is starting to inch, and Bitcoiners are going to be smack dab in the middle of that. And as you can tell from the title, from our thumbnail, from the news yesterday, RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr., it seems like he's a Bitcoiner, guys. Yesterday, he announced that he wants to eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin. He wants to back the US dollar with Bitcoin. He is doubling down on all the things he said at Bitcoin 2023. And as much as I do not trust politicians, you guys know me, I am skeptical up front. I think either way, this is a win. Whether he wins or not, whether you agree with him or not, the Bitcoin conversation is happening at the highest levels. And in my opinion, that is a win. More people are waking up to the idea of Bitcoin, whether we have more and more detractors, whether we have more and more presidential candidates talking about Bitcoin, whether it's just the corporate press that cannot stop talking about the Bitcoin price, about the Bitcoin bubbles. Bitcoin has very evidently moved into the mainstream consciousness, and here we are. We're on the front lines, guys. So continue to spread the memes, continue to talk about Bitcoin, continue to try and wake up your friends and family. That's all we really can do, because the world has yet to feel enough pain to go on the Bitcoin standard, but you guys have, and you guys have changed your trajectory by getting on the Bitcoin standard, by understanding Bitcoin, by understanding that orange coin good number goes up and freedom goes up as well with it. So, hey, whether RFK is actually the Bitcoiner that he says he is, and there's contention on both sides from Bitcoiners. Some believe that he's authentically believing everything he's saying, and a lot of us more skeptical Bitcoiners are like, he's a politician and he's just providing lip service to a cohort of voters that believe what he is saying. And on that same vein, are not very political to start with. So there is a lot of you single issue Bitcoin voters out there, and maybe he's tapping into it. Maybe he is just paying lip service to this. We won't know until we move forward in the story, but the story remains the same. The Overton window, in regards to what you guys know about Bitcoin, is starting to move into the mainstream. I've said it in the past. We have moved into the Rubicon, or we have crossed over the Rubicon into the mainstream consciousness. And this next bull run, as the price goes up, conversation is going to be nothing but Bitcoin. But I am not alone here. I am with my co-host Dell. And you guys have been very excited about Dell. So Dell's going to cover the news. And we have a theme today, Dell. And you hit me up last night, and we were on the same wavelength. It is the idea of inching the Overton window. And Bitcoin is going to be, and it's getting very close. It's almost like we are going to be, the belle of the ball soon. So this next year or two is going to be very interesting as a Bitcoiner. But how you doing this morning?
I'm doing just fine. Yeah, nice morning, good day. It is going to be quite interesting as we head into the election year, what happens there, the lack of debates or different kinds of debates, we'll see. And the whole narrative, everything, the whole story surrounding Bitcoin and crypto. And we've got some stuff we're going to be talking about today, how people still don't understand the difference between the two. They think that all of the crypto ecosphere is just a bunch of different stocks and bonds and blah blah blah. There are all these different investments, and it is really really hard to understand what Bitcoin is until you take those many hours and dive into it. Because understanding what money is not easy. Even somebody that's really smart, like John Stewart, we're going to play a clip I think later on where he kind of has this oh, aha sort of moment. And it takes time to get there because it is so radically different than anything that you've been told or know, because most people don't spend any time thinking about this kind of stuff. So it takes a lot of work to get there. And I think we're going to see more people going, oh, pretty soon.
100%, 100%. And your point on the Jon Stewart clip, we are going to play that in the culture, and it's something I've been talking about, and we constantly bring up the same idea: is people are starting to ask the questions, and that is where you start from. You ask the questions: what is going on? Why are they printing so much money? What is money, and how do we fix this? Because I say it all the time. I think a lot of people know what the problem is, but they don't know what the solution is. And of course, fix the money, fix the world. That's why we're Bitcoiners. That's why we're Simply Bitcoin. Anyways, let's get into the numbers, guys.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stampseed.
Let's go, guys. Here we go. We are in the numbers, but if you scan the QR code at the bottom, go check out Stampseed. Anyways, we're over here on Clark Moody's dashboard, aka bitcoin.clarkmoody.com, and we are at the block height of 799,414. We're almost at that 800,000th block. TikTok, next block, Honey Badger don't care. And the current Bitcoin price is currently at $29,880. We're, hovering around that 30K, which means that the Moscow time, aka the sats per dollar, aka how much your dollar is worth in Bitcoin, or how much Bitcoin you can buy for a single dollar, is at 3,347 sats. We are still in that 3K range. Absolutely love to see it. And the total percentage of Bitcoin issued is at 92.54%, slowly inching up, The market cap in fiat terms is $580.6 billion. The realized monetary inflation, taking fiat currencies to school, is 1.76%. I don't know if you guys remember, but the dollar's recent CPI print was at above 3. So, killing all the fiat currencies in the world. And the Bitcoin versus gold market cap, so much room to run, 4.45%. The total lightning capacity is currently at 4,910 Bitcoin. As you can tell, it is fluctuating a little bit. I wonder what's going on over there. It was, like 5,100 a couple weeks ago. It was under 4,009. It was like 4,898 the other day. So, hey, there is some additions to the Lightning Network. And remember, Binance just unrolled their Lightning option. So it seems like things are building on Lightning. And the hash rate the last 90 days is 366 exahash. And the pending fees is currently at 2.17 BTC. We saw for a while there, we were in the 10 to 20 Bitcoin in the pending fees. But hey, market's clear. The mempool clears. Anyways, let's get into today's video. As you guys probably saw on Twitter, we got this Bitcoin skeptic. His name is Ben McKenzie. He's an actor for, I believe it was the OC in the early 2000s. And he has become a Bitcoin, or rather a crypto skeptic. But before I get into that, first, shouts out to Joe from Squawkbox, absolute Chad Bitcoiner, and I just love to see him on Legacy Media just constantly counter all of the Bitcoin skeptics. He has thoroughly been orange pilled, and you just love to see it. We, as you guys know, what's the Fight Club meme? It's like, we run the nodes, we're everywhere, we are in control of this stuff. It's becoming clearer and clearer and clearer every single day that there's Bitcoiners at the highest and the lowest levels of the whole world, and we are everywhere. We may not all be as open and loud and eccentric as the Max Kaisers of the world, but Bitcoiners are everywhere, and it's only a matter of time until Bitcoiners are literally in every position around the world. But Anyways, let's get into this video here. And not only are we going to have a good laugh, but there is an actual economic discussion on the whole idea of money here. And I did do a little more digging here because me and Dell were asking this question, like, who paid this guy off? Like, what is his incentives? What is the financial incentives for him to come out as a Bitcoin skeptic? So I have an article by The Guardian here. I will, highlight a few points and talk about a few things before I pass it over to Dell. But there is very interesting stuff here, and it's a story as old as time, as someone that's been in Bitcoin for a long time. But let's just watch this video, and then we'll get back to it.
Leon, earlier he's great, smart guy, stock analyst, thinks Bitcoin's going to 200,000. So we have, Kathy Wood, BlackRock wants to have an ETF, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller.
Sure.
And just across the board. It didn't take me long to understand how the unbanked could benefit from this. And I also understand the distributed ledgers, and I understand it was only, you say you did a deep dive. It only took me about 20 pages of the Bitcoin Standard to understand that this was probably something that. Do you think all these firms are going to have egg on their face?
So the democratized, decentralized future of money is brought to you by BlackRock?
I don't know. Maybe they may. I mean, if they think it's gold, if they think it's
that's why I was
digital gold.
Right, exactly, and that's why I was explaining the difference between
I heard that, but
and scarcity.
A lot of smart people are fooled by it. You think it's going to zero eventually?
No, that's like a. I mean, look,
where do you think it's going?
Story. I can't predict the future any more than anyone else, but I would say
this. You think it's going lower?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think eventually there will not be something called Bitcoin?
It's a story. It'll last as long as people believe in it.
All right, guys. First and foremost, shout out to Joe from Squawk Box. I think that was the most chat answer I've heard in a long time. It's like, wait, you know better than literal fiat billionaires that hold Bitcoin. He's like, I read 20 pages, the first 20 pages of the Bitcoin Standard, and I understand how powerful Bitcoin was. First, obviously, that's a testament to the book by Saifedean, the Bitcoin Standard. Of course, guys, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you guys go read it. But what a dunk. I'd love to see it. I love Bitcoiners dunking on people in the corporate press. But anyways, let's get into this article over here. And this is by The Guardian. And this really shows the incentives behind Ben McKenzie and why he is doing what he's doing. And the headline here is, I know about lying. I do it for a living. How Ben McKenzie went from the OC heartthrob to crypto's biggest critic. So as we are talking about, Ben McKenzie is about to publish a book called Easy Money, Cryptocurrency, Casino Capitalism, and the Golden Age of Fraud. And it's a story about how Ben McKenzie accidentally became an investigative journalism and what he calls a bizarre career pivot. And before we get into it, it's very interesting that the chunk of this book is Ben McKenzie talking to a lot of shitcoin scammers, and hence why he probably has this repulsion to Bitcoin, or cryptocurrency as he's calling it. Anyways, as you can see here, some highlighted parts. There's interviews with Sam Bankman-Fried. There's interviews with CEO Alex Mashinsky of Celsius, and he talked to Justin Sun. Without going any further, they're all shitcoin scammers. So no wonder why he has such a skeptical view on Bitcoin. Anyways, just to go into a little backstory, in the pandemic, he started to look into Bitcoin or crypto in a midst of boredom and midlife crisis, and he became curious. He considered buying crypto, but the more he read about bubbles and economic history, the more suspicious he became. Bubbles go parabolic up right at the end, and then parabolic down usually. That's where I felt we were. Like, this was not sustainable. But in times of mania, it's herd mentality and everyone just piles on. That's what he thought. Potentially a massive Ponzi scheme, and he hasn't quite understood why. He said, I felt like something I could do because I know a little bit about money, but I know about lying. I do it for a living. He says his career taught him about hype and bubbles, and he lived through his own because he was the star of the OC. Anyways, they're trying to make a connection between the cryptocurrency industry and Hollywood. Ultimately, it comes down to marketing. If crypto, again, using the word crypto here is a very poignant point here. Don't forget this. If crypto doesn't have a product, which I would argue it does not, then what are you buying when you're buying these bits of code? It's just a story, an appealing one, he adds. It claimed to be inclusive for people who, for various reasons, usually of inequality, didn't have traditional bank accounts. It's going to build generational wealth. It's going to democratize and decentralize the future of money. None of it is true. He understands why people were drawn in. I almost was. It had, at least on paper or screen, made money for a bunch of people, even if at the end of the day it actually hadn't, because they couldn't get the money out when the price crashed. Anyways, going on a little bit, there's some talk about showbiz. He says showbiz is a hustle and there's money to be made by selling products, which is fine, but this is different. This is not soap or car insurance. This is an unregulated, unlicensed security, in my opinion, and you are effectively offering financial advice, whether you say you are or not. And he dives into a lot of these examples that we talk about on the show constantly, about celebrities endorsing shitcoins and how shitcoiners make us all look bad. So I am not disagreeing with the idea that crypto is filled with scams. I think we can all safely agree as Bitcoiners that crypto or shitcoins is rife with fraud, with charlatans, with snake oil salesmen, with frauds. I can agree with this 100%. But I think here's the crux of this whole incentive structure of Ben McKenzie. McKenzie's enthusiasm and the surety of his predictions ramped up that the space was going to go down, and he essentially bet $250,000 that the crypto market would collapse, but got the timing wrong and lost most of it. Did that make him question his position? Oh yeah, and it made me think about how to tell my wife, which is where a lot of cryptos people who have made big losses have gotten. He smiles. It was an expensive lesson, but it was a luxury that I had the money to speculate with. What makes me most angry is the selling of this junk to people who cannot afford to lose the real money they have, and the complacency of the people that did that. Look, I pretty much agree with you. This is why I am a Bitcoiner. This is why I'm a toxic Bitcoiner, because I also got scammed and wrecked by shitcoiners. And this is why we are Simply Bitcoin. This is why we continue to double down on the idea that there is Bitcoin and there is shitcoin. And hey, look, it is a free market. Yes, there's a lot of scammers out there. Yes, do your own research and all that good stuff. And I 100% agree. Crypto is a fraud. This is why we double down on the idea of Bitcoin only, but you can tell his incentive structure. He lost $250,000, probably speculating on some shitcoins, following bad advice, and now he's here to protect the little man. This is what he's here to do. Anyways, he still believes crypto has no real world use or value, but he hasn't, I point out, successfully brought cryptocurrency down, and he laughed. For the crypto survivors, the market appears to be recovering, even if the regulators are circling it. It's not a fair market. Most of the volume is fake. There's very real liquidity, meaning the real money backing it. Crypto will be around, he said, as long as people believe in it. The brilliance of the con is it points out something we can all agree on. The financial system is unequal and then pivots. Crypto solves it, he smiled. That's the trick. It doesn't. We could continue to choose to ignore those flaws in traditional finance, but McKenzie doesn't think we should. We made the financial system up just like we made up money, so we can change it, but it does require work, and it does require we speak the truth. So again, he thinks he's doing the right thing. But I think he's wholly mistaken. Yes, there's Bitcoin, there's crypto, there's a lot of frauds in crypto, but there is very real monetary properties that you would want to choose in regards to choosing the best money. And he did have, I didn't say it right now, but in this article, there is a little touch on the idea that he had an economics degree like 20 years ago. So obviously a Keynesian, doesn't really understand the Austrian economics version of money, which I think he kind of does, because I read another article, but he still thinks in the idea like Bitcoin, it's not a medium of exchange, it's not a unit of account. I can't go to my bakery and buy something with Bitcoin. I can't store my wealth in Bitcoin because it's so volatile, yada, yada. Anyways, I think Jeff Swan here, aka at Agorist View, sums it up perfectly on this tweet. If you think anything can be money because it's just a shared fiction, you're going to have a bad time. And I think this is the crux of the situation. It's not just that anything can be money. It's not just that we all agree on, a story and we're making up something to be new money. There's certain properties of money that the world coalesces on. It's a shared understanding of what the best money is. It's, what do we always say? Scarce, divisible, fungible. I could go on, but I really like this tweet here from Swan. Shouts out to, I don't know who's behind the Swan account, but shouts out to you on Twitter. And he goes, bad actor exposed. Is the democratized, decentralized future of money brought to you by BlackRock? I really like that gaslighting. It's nice. A nice deflection, Ben. But Bitcoin is much bigger than BlackRock or anyone else. It isn't just a story. It's history. Are you on the right side of history? Are you coalescing on the best money possible? Because the world will coalesce on the best money possible. And it's not just a shared fiction. And even to that point, and we're going to pretty much thoroughly destroy this idea on today's show, because it's not just a shared fiction, a shared story, because the traditional financial world is just that. They're the best storytellers in the world. They gaslight everyone. They know that the financial system as it is based on trust, and they abuse that trust. But we have something now that is called Bitcoin, 21 million hard cap, permissionless money, uncensorable money, fungible, divisible, can have instant settlement across the world in 10 minutes or less, digital money for the digital world. This is why people have coalesced on Bitcoin. It's not just a story. It is understanding that there are certain properties to money, and Bitcoin fits that better than any other money we've seen to date. And furthermore, you think you're going to save in paper money and IOUs? I'm not. I don't. Anyways, I think I've ranted enough. Del, what's your thoughts on all this?
I've got a tweet here from American Hodl, and he says it pretty clearly. Let me pull this up here. Is that there we go. By the way, Bitcoin, he's referring to this Yuval Harari clip, which we might get to later, but he's talking about this whole shared fiction story thing here. He says, by the way, Bitcoin is not a shared fiction, but a shared recognition, an emerging understanding of something profoundly new and simultaneously ancient. And I think what he's saying there is entirely accurate, because a lot of money you could look at as a shared story. Okay, we all believe that this money, this whatever it is, these papers has this value of time that we put into it. We go and we work and we transact in this paper currency because we believe it's that way. And if everybody were to wake up tomorrow and not believe that and say, actually, I want to transport all my mental energy that I've put towards these numbers on a screen towards napkins, I guess that could work. But the thing there is that this is what we're using. This is the medium of exchange, this paper currency, dollars, whatever it is in your local jurisdiction. But for me, it's dollars, numbers on a screen. But with Bitcoin, it's, as people have talked about so often, it's this, it's not a lie, it's truth. So it's like the measuring tape, where if you have a measuring tape and it's constantly changing, and you build a house to some specifications one day, but then you come back the next day to keep on building that house, to keep on working on it, and your tape measure has changed. This portion of the foot is 3 inches longer, and then this section of the tape measure, it's 3 inches shorter. So you have no, like, your measurements are all completely off. That's what money is currently, and has been for basically all time. Except when you enter Bitcoin, this is what I was saying at the outset, it's so radically different. It's so weird that when you wake up from that, when you kind of have your Neo waking up out of the pod, the reality of the situation is so drastically different than what you've thought. You're used to going to, oh, I remember that ramen shop. Oh, you're walking down the street. Oh, I'm gonna have a cookie, and here we are. And I'm going to, oh, Mr. Anderson. I'm going to my office job. But then you wake up and you go, wait, whoa. There is no sun. There's robots everywhere. Humans are being used as a battery. This is the real world. Like, you can't even comprehend the difference there. And so Bitcoin is reality. It's just saying, people might say, oh, well, what am I buying? I'm just buying data. No. You're not buying just data. You're not buying just numbers. You're buying what everybody, I mean, that is part of what you're buying. You are buying your section on this immutable ledger. Yes, that is part of it, but you're also buying a portion of all of that energy that went into it. You're also buying a portion of all the economic and incentives that people dumped into that, all the stuff, all the time and energy that Pierre Richard and Riot and Terra Wolf and all the various platforms and developers that have put into that. So all of that time that they're putting into it, all of the time that the educators are putting into it, all of the time that Opti, Nico, Rustin with his clips, the editors that you don't even see the faces of, doing all of this work to share the information about Bitcoin, all of that going into Bitcoin on a daily, second by second basis is part of what you're buying into. You're trading your time to get a piece of this massive thing that is constantly growing. All of that energy is being constantly dumped into it. And I mean physical energy, yes, coming from the sun, the land, the water, yes, that energy, but I also mean the mental energy. People say that the best Bitcoin miners are the ones that find the best the efficiencies. The ASIC miners are the most efficient thing. People started out by mining on their laptops and in their computers, and then people figured out apparently it was that I think it was the guy that bought the pizzas that Hynek or whatever, Alex Hynek. He's the guy that figured out that using GPUs was better. I think I read this in the bullish case for Bitcoin. He's the guy that figured out that using GPUs was better than a CPU. So then people switched to GPUs, and now that's so much more efficient. But then people figured out ASICs. But that's on the technological, the hardware side. But the same is happening on the human side. If you're at a Bitcoin company and somebody else comes along and says, hey, I can do the job of those 3 people by myself, well, those 3 people might not have jobs anymore, because the company is going to go, oh, this guy can do the editing. He can do the videos. He can do this. He can make the thumbnails. He can be the video guy. We don't need 3 people to do that. We can just have 1 person to do that. So it encourages people to be more efficient, more creative on all aspects, not just the hardware. It's not just the hardware that's getting more efficient. It's the people too. And it's Bitcoin it's so, like I said at the outset, it's so radically different. Like it's a complete worldview difference that because it is done and interacted with on the computer, people go, oh, it's the same as all these other cryptos. That's the only thing that's the same about it. That is the only thing that's the same about it, is that you interact with this thing, this technology via screens. Yes, that is how you interact with it. Like I can't go out and scoop some up the ground with my hands. I can't touch it physically. But that's irrelevant. That's like saying, oh, well, because it's on the internet that Vimeo and YouTube is exactly the same. Really? Really? Which one has billions of seconds of video content being uploaded every moment? Which is the second largest search engine in the world? Is it Vimeo, whatever? No, it's not. It's not. Is Rumble the biggest video platform on the planet? No, it's not. It's YouTube. So by saying that it's all on the internet, it's all the same thing. That's insanity. Like 80% of the people on the planet use Google to search, not Bing, not Yahoo. So just because they have this one aspect that is similar, that is the same, that is done on the screen, doesn't mean that it's the same thing. And that confusion is, I think it's something that people will start to see through here pretty soon.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, 100%. I think the facade is cracking and people are waking up to the reality. I say it all the time, fiat currency is literally the cartoon of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, where the coyote is off the cliff and it finally looks down at his feet. And Bitcoiners are the part where you look down at your feet and reality's starting to, crack down to base reality. And we still have people that are doing the PSYOP, continuing the PR, and doing whatever they can to continue the game going so that more people don't understand what is actually happening. But Bitcoin is truth. Bitcoin is reality. And more people are waking up to what is reality and what is the truth of our current situation. And you need to wake up to that idea if you want to prosper and move forward, because they want you to own nothing and be happy. And hopefully we will get to that clip in the culture, but we are running a little late already. So let's get into the news. Jump in.
The Daily News.
The Daily News is brought to you by Blockstream Jade, built by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. It's an open source hardware wallet for the cold storage of Bitcoin. Check out the brand new limited edition color, the transparent green Jade. Blockstream Jade houses a full color camera, allowing for fully air-gapped Bitcoin transactions, scan and display QR codes directly on the device, assign transactions, and verify addresses with ease. Use your Blockstream Jade with your favorite wallet software, such as Blockstream Green, Blue Wallet, Electrum, Sparrow. Get yourself a Blockstream Jade today and take self-custody of your Bitcoin.
Of course, guys, before we move forward in the news, get your ticket to Bitcoin 2024. We are taking over Nashville. All the Bitcoiners are going down there. I think I heard that the venue is going to be like 20,000 people. Anyways, that's a year away, but we're telling you to get your ticket today. because these are the lowest prices. And before the price raises and you guys complain about the price going up, you want to get your ticket today. So next year, July 25th through 27, 2024, we are taking over Nashville. Get your early bird tickets today. These are the cheapest they will be moving forward. And do not sleep on getting your ticket, because I know you guys are going to FOMO. You're going to start yelling at us about the price rising. Anyways, general admission is $299. Industry pass is $749. And if you're a whale, the whale pass is $4,499. And if you use the code SIMPLY, you can get a discount. So get them today, guys, so that you can come hang out with us, so that we can all hang out at a Bitcoin Mecca trip. This year is going to be in Nashville. It's where all the awesome, fun Bitcoiners will be. Anyways, Dal, what do you have for us today?
In the news, we're covering this whole RFK Jr. announces bold plan to back dollar with Bitcoin and end Bitcoin taxes. So here he was speaking at a Heal the Divide PAC event. Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. outlined specific Bitcoin-focused policies that he would enact as president, including gradually backing the US dollar with Bitcoin and making Bitcoin profits exempt from capital gains tax. That one's huge right there. He says, my plan would be to start very, very small, perhaps 1% of issued T-bills, treasury bills, would be backed by hard currency, by gold, silver, platinum, or Bitcoin, Kennedy said, describing his vision for returning to a hard currency standard in the US. He added that depending on the outcome of that initial step, he would increase that allocation annually. And I think we all know how that would go with allocation to hard money. I don't think it would go well. It would go well. I don't think it would go bad. Backing dollars and U.S. debt obligations with hard assets could help restore strength back to the dollar, rein in inflation, and usher in a new era of American financial stability, peace, and prosperity, he declared. And I think there was one more bit down here. Yeah. Kennedy's steadfast conviction in Bitcoin signals a coming political paradigm shift where Bitcoin is seen not just as an asset, correct, but as a prudent policy tool to ensure the nation's fiscal longevity and an opportunity to attract intellectual capital to U.S. shores. And this part right here, as a prudent policy tool to ensure the nation's fiscal, that's something that Saylor has talked about a lot. He has said that I don't know that I've heard him talk about this so much in the scale of nation states. I think he's mentioned it here and there, but he's definitely said it in terms of businesses. And he says that if you don't have Bitcoin, some allocation, then you are, what's the term? Something like in fiduciary, like you're not doing well by your investors. If you're taking all of this investor money, people go, hey, we believe in this company 123, doesn't matter what it is. And what you're doing with that belief in this, you're taking our money your investments in this money, and then you're putting it in fidget spinners. Well, then people are going to go, whoa, hang on. Board of directors and all the investors are going to be, I'm sorry, you're doing what? You're investing in fidget spinners? The year's 2023. Maybe that made sense. And whenever those were a thing, 2015, 2016, for a hot minute there, and then get out real quick, possibly. But that's not a real good idea for a long-term strategy. So let's go from fidget spinners on one end of the extreme. Probably not that. That's a really bad idea. But maybe doing something like real estate. That's why companies, BlackRocks of the world, have so much sway. They know what they're doing when it comes to assets under management. And the assets under management that they have, by a large degree, from what I understand, from what I've seen, is real estate. They have things that actually appreciate in value, things that take time. Gold, probably some equity, different things, different companies that they're invested in, but not fidget spinners. That's the point here. And so on the other end of that's kind of the middle realm. You take some hope, you put some money into real estate. You hope that these different companies that you invest in are going to do well. But if you have something like Bitcoin, then you know it's going up in value because it can't be inflated. So it's just, you're just going to see more companies do this, put some portion. They're going to go, hey, let's try 1%. And then they'll see what MicroStrategy has done and go, okay, well, maybe 1%, that's played out really well. It's done better than everything else that we're invested in. Why don't we bump that up to 5%? And if more and more businesses, companies and countries do this, see what El Salvador is doing, then I think it will be slow. People constantly say slowly, then suddenly. And you hear people saying how we don't want this shift to a Bitcoin standard to happen too fast. I think it'll happen faster than people anticipate. I think it really will be a slowly then suddenly thing. I think it will almost be like waking up one day and it'll be a different world. It'll be sort of like 9/11, where there was pre 9/11, and then you went to sleep on 9/10, 9/9, whatever that year, and it was just life as usual. It's just here we go. It's back to a normal day. Go to school, and then you woke up on 9/11, and you knew that things were different. Nothing like this in your lifetime had ever happened. The closest thing that we had like that was Pearl Harbor, and I don't think most people here. I certainly wasn't alive for that. And so here, this instantaneous shift happened where, oh, this is different. We're in a different world now. It's like we just got bumped over into the side universe where this wasn't supposed to happen. Something went wrong, and now we're dealing with the repercussions of this. And it wasn't just some planes and some people's lives lost. Not to say that anything less of that. Just that wasn't the real big takeaway. The real big takeaway from all of that was the complete control the governments enacted all over the place. And we feel that still to this day. And it's more and more control. So we live in this completely different world, is my point here. And I think the same thing will happen with Bitcoin. It's just little things here and there. Like terrorist attacks and different problems around the world weren't new before 9/11. It was like, it wasn't the first one ever. There were small things that happened, but that was a really big one. That was a large scale event. And I think what might happen is that you see other small countries, other small things, this country, that country, but then all of a sudden, maybe the BRICS, they go, this gold thing, we tried it for a little while. It wasn't working out. It was pretty good, but instead of that, we've seen what El Salvador is doing. We've seen what, say, Sri Lanka is doing. We've seen what Morocco is doing. Different small countries. They're all getting on Bitcoin standards. They're all using it as legal tender. Let's try it. And then BRICS goes, let's not back our currency, whatever they're calling that currency, whenever that comes out. I think they're announcing it here in August, like a month from now. Instead of gold, let's just go to Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden you've got Brazil, you've got Russia, you've got all China just into Bitcoin. And then the next day you're just going, wait, I'm sorry, what? My dollars buy me, I'm sorry, what? My entire bank account buys me 2 peanuts? But if I'm on this other one, I mean, that what's the book that Odell's always talking about? The Mandibles. That's kind of what happens in that. They go, there's this other currency. It completely takes the world by storm. The dollar goes to nothing, and everybody in the country is just completely blindsided. And that's why I think doing the research, looking into what Bitcoin is and understanding why it is so radically different than anything else will do you. Hey, at the very least, at the very, very, very least, it's an interesting ride. At the very least, it's that. All right. You'll learn so much about economics and about money and what things are and how the world functions than you ever would have doing anything else, investing in some sort of meme coin where, oh, the next big thing is an event over here and we're all going to wear frog hats and dance in fuzzy slippers. Like, what do you learn from that? There's no benefit from, I mean, maybe some good memories, maybe you hang out with some people and it's a good time and you leave the convention hall with some things that you maybe never get away from. You have to start taking a medication, but hey, that whatever. That's part of the fun, right? You can hang out with your bros down in the Bahamas and get a clown hat. Cool, good for you. But if you're on Bitcoin, you'll learn about history, you'll learn about people, you'll learn about human interaction. You might even buy some chickens. You might buy a homestead. You might live in a different place. You might improve your life, maybe. But at the very least, you'll learn some things. At the very, very least, you'll learn some useful things. I mean, I've always been poor. I've always been poor. So I've had this conversation with people like, well, what do you do if Bitcoin doesn't work out for you? It's like, what? Nothing else was working out for me either. It's literally no different. So I'm fine. Like I've learned how to live with basically nothing my entire life. So I'm a little, I think, smarter having learned some things about economics. So at least I have that. I improved my mental state. So that's pretty cool. That's at the very least I have that. If I don't get any sort of financial gains from this, if I'm no better off financially than I was a year ago, well, that's the same. And there was no prospects on any horizon of my life whatsoever that was going to change that. So maybe Bitcoin works, and I hope it does, and I hope it improves mine and many other people's lives. But if it doesn't, okay, life keeps on taking on. status quo for me.
What's the meme? If Bitcoin fails, or well, it's really like a iteration of the classic one. It's not about the end destination; it's a journey. It's like if Bitcoin fails, at least we made some friends and got a little smarter along the way. Obviously, I'm trolling. Look, guys, I see you guys in the chat, and first and foremost, I will echo the sentiment. I do not trust politicians. I've said that so many times on this show, and until politicians give me proof of work, everything they say is just lip service. And I think, hey, I don't know RFK's intentions. It does seem like he is well intentioned. It does seem like he might actually believe what he's saying. Again, he's a politician, so it just seems like maybe he is providing lip service to an untapped voting market, which is all of us Bitcoiners. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there that talk about like being a single issue voter. I personally am not that way. Just because you talk about Bitcoin doesn't mean that you have my vote. Again, I haven't voted. I voted one time and I felt like I got duped, and I'm not voting again until I believe in someone that is actually going to do some good, which is far-fetched. Anyways, doubling down on kind of what RFK was saying, or rather being a little more cynical. Look, I'm not here to fix the US dollar. Like, I'm not here to have Bitcoin back the dollar. I think the dollar is the very reason why we have the military industrial complex. It is the ills of the world. Fiat money itself in general is why we are able to have perpetual war. And of course, the dollar is why America has become poorer. I don't know if you guys know the numbers. Actually, you will know the numbers in a minute because I'm going to cover them. We are in $32 trillion of debt. I don't think you understand how much trillions is. It's a huge number. There's no way we can ever pay our way out of this debt, which is something we always talk about. Like, there's no way to fix the system from within the system. Like, this idea, I fully don't understand what he is saying when he's saying we're going to back the US dollar with Bitcoin. I don't even think he fully understands what he's saying. It might just be a good lip service, because I think we've talked about it in the past, and a lot smarter Bitcoiners than I have talked about it in the past. It's the idea of, if you try to bring the dollar back onto a hard money standard, you're going to blow up more shit than you can fix. And I correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure putting the dollar on Bitcoin will probably do the same thing. And again, talking about stable coins and pegs, we all know that they always get unpegged. Anyways, I do understand the idea of putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. I think that would be beneficial for America. So if that's what he's meaning, then I can see how that might work. But you do not fit the new system within the old system to fix the old system like that. It's back to the Hayek quote, to fix the system, you need to create a sly roundabout way. And that's what Bitcoin is. You build a parallel system and it outcompetes the old system. And then new people, take a step onto the new system. Anyways, I think the real signal here is kind of what you touched on in the very beginning, Dell. It's the elimination of capital gains tax. That would be absolutely huge for not only all of us hodlers, but for America in general. And that is the sovereign individual thesis playing out in real time. So, he specifically said that he would want to outcompete other nations like Singapore, and I forget what the other one was, in embracing Bitcoin, eliminating capital gains tax so that they can bring in, or at least retain, the tech innovation of the world. Silicon Valley is where all the technology is coming out of. Yes, we are devolving into a collectivist state. Yes, we might even already be in a banana republic. But if RFK does get elected and he is actually able to eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin, that would be absolutely huge, because that would be attracting all of the tech innovators. Everyone wants to come to America in the first place. And now, if you're a Bitcoin holder, if you are an entrepreneur, then, and you eliminate the cap gains, then that would be huge for attracting the best businesses and entrepreneurs in the world to America. And that's how America will maintain its position around the world, is by attracting entrepreneurs and not just stealing from them and taxing them more. It is incentivizing them to come here and build the businesses here, build the production here, so that we can continue to, or rather to return to a 1950s type glory days that everyone's talking about. Like, that is how we maintain our position, is by incentivizing entrepreneurs to come to America and build. Again, I'm a skeptical Bitcoiner. I don't trust politicians until they have shown us proof of work. Until then, I will side or err on the side of this just being lip service, but only time will tell. I think, though, the other signal here is the idea that we started the show on and that we've been hitting on constantly is the idea of shifting the Overton window. And it's slowly but surely getting into the Bitcoin signal. And I think this is part of what's going on. Whether he wins presidential elections, whether you like him or not, he is talking about Bitcoin. And now the Bitcoin conversation is happening at the highest levels of, public discourse. Like, to me, that is a win. Like, this is a win in and of itself just by the conversation being had. And I think this is moving the timeline up of Bitcoin being a defining election hot topic. Like, I think I was saying that it's probably going to be like 2028 where Bitcoin is like the defining presidential or election topic. It's almost seeming like next year it might be one of those defining topics. Of course, I don't think there's enough Bitcoiners out there yet to fully shift the presidential vote count. But again, there's a lot of Bitcoiners that are single issue voters. And I forget what bill it was. It was might have infrastructure bill last year, what have you. There was a senator who, it might have been Cynthia Lummis, and she said that when Bitcoiners organize, they are the biggest voting bloc, period. There is no other voting bloc out there as aggressive, as principled, as vocal as Bitcoiners. And I think there's a shining light in that. And I think that might be, again, being cynical, I think that might be one of the reasons why RFK and his, the Kennedy team is talking about Bitcoin in such positive light, because there's so many of us young, disenfranchised people. They're seeing both sides of the aisle, and we're like, you guys are all fucking crazy. And we need something different. We need new ideas. And I think he's tapping into that, whether he believes in it completely. The positive, optimistic side of me, maybe the naive, optimistic side of me would like to believe that he does. Again, he's got the good last name. He's got, the very, for lack of better terms, the American royalty vibe to him. And it does seem like he wants American excellence. And so, in that note, I would love for him to actually be a full Bitcoiner, like as orange pilled as we are. We do know he holds some Bitcoin. We do know he seems to believe in Bitcoin. And one of the things that he did say in that article was the idea of free speech money. If again, politicians are good at creating good stories. If we believe his story on the surface, again, I'm just being skeptical here. He got orange pilled because of the Freedom Convoy, about a currency that can be stopped, that can be censored. And he seems to be a free speech maxi. And again, just taking all these points on a surface level without getting conspiratorial, it does seem like he does believe in free speech money and understand where we're going and how dangerous and nefarious CBDC, central bank digital control mechanism, is. And on that surface, being optimistic, I do think that he might actually be a Bitcoiner. Again, I'm just skeptical of politicians because I have PTSD and we've been hurt for so long by politicians that I just can't trust them until they show me that they are what they say they are. Until that point, I am just skeptical of their incentives and who's lobbying them and what their purpose are. And I think that's healthy. I think it's healthy to try to look at what the incentives are, what he gets out of it, and what he's trying to do. But again, the Overton window has shifted. It's constantly being talked about in corporate press. Now it's being talked about in presidential elections. This is a huge win for Bitcoiners just because the conversation is being started. And the election's a year away now. I think it's going to get kicked into overdrive. And Bitcoiners, we're going to be the belle of the ball. They're going to be talking about us. They're going to be coming to us and trying to have these conversations, tap into our brains and understand why we do what we do. And I think that is absolutely bullish. I don't know, Del, I ranted for a minute. Do you want to chime in here, or do you want to move on to the culture and we can rant on basically the same topic?
No, you made two really stand-up points there that I want to bounce off for a second. So first off, 100% what you said about the main thing here, the biggest takeaway, the signal amid everything else, if everything else is a noise, is that the conversation is being had at all. That Bitcoin is being said in the mouths of people like RFK in these big time that it's being spread. People are hearing the word Bitcoin. They're not hearing shitcoin. They're not hearing this. They're not hearing wear a frog hat. They're hearing Bitcoin. And people are going, okay, people are starting to make the connection. They're seeing that video that you shared the other day. I think it was either a short or a TikTok where the guy is saying, the average person today makes less money in the lowest point in the history of the United States during the depths of the Great Depression. People are making more money than now. So people are going, okay, there's clearly a problem with money. And this guy here on the YouTube short, he's articulating something that a lot of people have just felt. They don't really understand it. A lot of people, they just know, when I go to the store, this bag of groceries used to cost me $50, which I know how much I made then is about the same as I made now. But now this same bag of groceries, basically, maybe even a little bit lighter, cost me $120. So it's gone up more than double. Then the politicians are telling me that the inflation is really good at only X amount %, but that's not reflected in what I'm seeing here. And I remember just a few years ago, gas was only $3 and now it's nearly $6 in some places. Something doesn't add up here. And so you have all of that going on, and then you hear politicians mentioning Bitcoin in the same breath. So I don't think that Bitcoin will be a center of the stage topic for the 2024 election. I could definitely see it being the case in 2028, but I think what will be a very large focal point is the economy, people's paychecks, people feeling poor and worse off than ever before in all of American history. Like, things are at an absolute breaking point, and people are going, I can barely afford to live in this nothing apartment that I'm in. I can't do this. I'm basically homeless. This is impossible to do. So that the conversation is happening is the biggest thing there. And the second point is that maybe in 2028, it will be a big point. People will go, that'll be another 4 years. That'll be after the halving. We'll be coming up on, that'll be right around the next halving, the going into the sixth epoch. So things are primed to be super crazy in the next, maybe not this election cycle. It'll be interesting. This one will be definitely interesting, but I think the 2028 one will be yeah, I think that'll be a real game changer for Bitcoin.
2028 is going to be lit. Anyways, let's get to culture because we are running late, and I know Dell and I are going to ramp pretty good on this one. So let's get into this.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today.
All right, guys, before we get into our rant in the culture, we want to talk about Pacific Bitcoin Festival, October 5th through 6th this year in Los Angeles. If you're on the West Coast, you can't make it to the East Coast for the other conferences, show up to Pacific Bitcoin Festival. It's going to be awesome in LA. It's in October. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the West Coast in October, but that's personally my favorite time of the year. I think it's the real summer if you're over there, if you're a West Coaster. Anyways, get your tickets today, guys. Again, the prices are rising. We want to see you out there, and this is the best time to get your tickets. So general is $550, VIP tickets is $2,800, and you can use the promo code simply and get a discount. So come hang out with us. We want to see you. Anyways, today's conversation is about shifting the Overton window, and I'm constantly seeing more and more conversation in regards to shifting that Overton window, whether it's Joe on Squawk Box, whether it's RFK as a presidential candidate talking about Bitcoin, eliminating tax gains, whether it's seeing just Bitcoin logos in movies. We have crossed the Rubicon into mainstream consciousness. And again, like we just talked about, it's about shifting the conversation, asking the right questions. Why is inflation going up? What is the root cause of inflation? Why am I poor? What is money? Wait, the Federal Reserve can just print money out of thin air. What is going on here? How is this thing the status quo? And like I keep saying, it seems like Bitcoiners were the only ones having these conversations. And now we're having some of the biggest celebrities, talking heads in the world ask the same questions that we ask, they're having the same conversations that we do. They're basically sounding like Bitcoiners in their podcast, just how we used to sound in our podcast. And it seems like the delay between what popular culture believes and what Bitcoiners are talking about is starting to dwindle down. And it's just the rapid quickness of information is starting to saturate all of the world, and everyone is asking the same question. People are feeling the pain and they're waking up to what is going on. Do they understand what the solution is yet? No. That's why you need to go out there and continue to wake people up. That's why we do what we do, is to try to frame everything in the light of Bitcoin. We know the problems, or rather, this is what we're seeing. These are the problems we see, and this is what we think is the solution, which is simply Bitcoin. Anyways, we got this video here of Jon Stewart, and he's talking to Kansas City. I think it's president of the Federal Reserve. It'll show it here, and he is asking the same things that we always ask. Wait, it seems like fiat money, literally fiat meaning by decree, is all fugazi. It seems like it's fake. It seems like you create this out of thin air, and they're agreeing to this, and it's just absolute madness. Let's watch this video real quick, and say what you want about Jon Stewart. I used to be a huge fan of Jon Stewart. It seems like he went left and then he was coming back right. I don't know. Maybe he's just had enough. He's waking up to the scam that is the modern world. But he sounds like a Bitcoiner, and he's just this close, man. The Overton window is shifting so much that these conversations are happening by people that probably wouldn't even have thought about this a few years ago. But anyways, let's watch this video.
That has been sort of created out of thin air has been added into the economy through the Fed. What would you put as a figure? Would it be 6 trillion? Is that too much?
It would be 6 trillion in terms of deposits with the banks and currency. Be 6 to 7 trillion.
Okay, that they're just injecting into it sort of out of nothing.
Out of nothing. They're the central bank of the United States. Now, think about it. It's just another form of government debt. Am I making sense?
It makes sense in the make-believe world of Conjuring. Like, there is a certain part of this that all feels like a mirage to some extent. Do you know what I mean? It all seems sort of fake.
Well, it's a fiduciary system. It's all faith-based, right?
Oh, my Lord.
Yes, you got to have confidence in that currency, in that dollar, because there's nothing backing. There's no gold backing.
So it's in some ways, it's a mass delusion.
Incredible. I mean, guys, was that not a conversation that Bitcoiners have been having? Is this not something that we talk about here all the time, about how fake fiat money is, how it's trust-based, how it's literally, they call us Bitcoiners mass psychosis, or, a shared delusion. But is that not what the fiat world is? And again, I keep referencing this line here, so maybe I'm beating a dead horse here, guys, but remember what is said in the white paper. It's literally what they just talked about. And I have it highlighted here for you guys. Again, this is the white paper, the second paragraph, and he goes, what is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could also be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transaction. Guys, the fiat system is based on trust. And as you can tell, and maybe I will have time to, maybe not, we're running a little late, but that Uvari clip that Dell brought up earlier, maybe I'll play it tomorrow if I get a chance. It shows exactly what we're talking about. People think that they can just create a better story and people will follow along because, hey, anything can be money. If paper's money, then anything can be money. Like, what's the difference here? And you can even see in real time Jon Stewart's head explode when he basically says that it's all fake and they can continue to just create more money. And it's, it makes sense in this like everything is fake kind of way. And remember last week when I showed you how many trillions are being printed and how long it took them to make trillions? Well, remember, in the last month, they literally created $1 trillion out of thin air. Does that show signs of a healthy system? The fact that they're printing more and more money at an ever quickening speed? To me, it seems like they are, oh, can't see this. Hold on. Remember this, guys. U.S. national debt has now increased by over $1 trillion since the debt ceiling was suspended last month. In 30 days, they printed $1 trillion. And then again, here is how long it took them to print their first trillion, 195 years, and the debt is just speeding up. And the third trillion took 6 months, the 32nd took 1 month, and now there is no debt ceiling. Again, maybe I'll play you this video for tomorrow, but there's been a theme today on the show, and it's the idea that people believe that you can just tell a story, and as long as the story is good enough that we can make it money, and as long as enough people believe in it, it'll be money. Well, that's not the case. There is very real monetary properties that people will coalesce to, and this is what will become money. In a truly free market, which Bitcoin is, people make up their own mind. They see the properties of money, and then they make that choice, and they start to save in what they think is the best money in the world. And again, here's Hodl's tweet, and maybe I'll play this video and we can rant on it tomorrow, but we're running out of time. Hodl goes, clear to me that Harari and the World Economic Forum and the corporate press ilk think they can compete with Bitcoin by copying its cryptography and telling a better story. Their story, live in a pod, eat bugs, subjugate yourself, a story so unpleasant it will only be repeated under duress at the barrel of a gun. Our story, live freely, trade freely, live a life of significance, own the fruits of your labor, and bow to no one. A story so beautiful people will defend it with their lives. A story that's as American as apple pie. Oh, you can't see it over here. My apologies, guys. But this is the point of the conversation here. It is not just a story about what money can be money. It's a story of what is the best money, fulfilling the properties of money. Again, hard cap, fungible, divisible, being able to be stored through time and space. All the things that Bitcoin has improved on fiat money, on gold, on seashells, on all that stuff. They can try to gaslight and psyop you into believing, oh, it's just a shared delusion. Remember a couple years ago when they're saying like, oh, money's just a shared delusion. It's like, no, there's very real properties of money. And this is why people use certain monies. As long as there is no threat of violence by a monopoly, AKA a state telling you what money is, people will coalesce on the best money. And in my opinion, that is Bitcoin. Anyways, Dow, I ranted enough. What's your thoughts on all this?
If there's one thing that I claim to have any expertise in, it's storytelling. That is my number one love in life. That is the single complete sentence that I have on my Twitter profile here is I'm a storyteller. I can tell you why a movie sucks. I can tell you why a book sucks. I can tell you why a book is good. I can tell you why The Hobbit is an absolute masterpiece and Isaac Asimov's The Foundation is dog shit. I can tell you all of these things, and I know exactly why. I can articulate exactly why that's the case. As you were talking about this and hearing all this about storytelling, the idea that came to mind was kind of an analogy. You can tell me if this resonates or not. The money that we've had is like a stage play. And there's no cost to change the costumes. There's all sorts of costumes back there. People can do Shakespeare 1 minute. They could do Romeo and Juliet. They can do Hamlet. They can do Wicked. The stage is the stage. And you can go to the stage. It's the Broadway 1, 2, 3 stage. And any number of shows can be played there. There's no cost. It just, the one day the actors are saying these lines and, oh, I'm John. And the next day it's, oh, I'm Tabitha. And the next day it's, I'm this, and it's Cats, and it's whatever. And the people that go and participate in that story, you're swept up in it and you believe it. And you're there, you're going there to be enraptured by the story. You suspend your disbelief for the moment, and you get sucked into the story. Some stories move you and you're like, oh my goodness, you cry and they really stick with you. And other ones, oh, yeah, that wasn't all that great. And then other ones, they make you think. You're like, man, that was a really good story. It makes you ponder. But the stories don't cost anything. These are all the different monies, all the different stories. Different countries have their own different stories. And Bitcoiners come along and they go, hang on, wait a second. Hang on, everybody. I just noticed that all of these stories, they're being told on a stage. I was looking around and I found some wood here and I knocked it with my hands and it's real. No, like, and it doesn't change. Like, I can feel it here. And as I keep on looking, there's more. And my mathematical thesis, given everything that I've seen, given where the money has gone and the constraints, I know exactly how much stage there will ever be. I also know the dimensions of this entire theater, and we only see a little bit of it right now. Actually, we see about, I think there's only 7.5% left to be discovered right now. But I know that to be the case because it's math, and math in every other situation has been correct. So this has to be correct because if it's not correct, then nothing about reality is correct. So I'm hedging on this being correct. And all of these stories that we've been seeing, that's the fiction. And it just changes. It changes all the time. There were cats yesterday, and now it's a soldier today, and then it was some weird animals the other day. Like it was Bob and Janice and Tabitha and Othello and Hamlet. Like it's always changing. I don't really know what to expect. But there's this other stuff. There's wood down here. I think we should be paying attention to the wood. Maybe the stage itself is what we should be paying attention to, and that's what Bitcoiners doing. They're going, hey, all of the stories. That's noise. What if we pay attention to the theater itself and we base everything on that? And that's unchanging. That will never change. That is what it is. And that theater, if you zoom out, is reality itself. And that's what Bitcoiners are saying. Maybe we should use that as money. Maybe we should use the foundation of what is as the foundation of what we transact with. Maybe we try that as opposed to just, well, I want to make up this story, and today I've got a pot on my head and I'm a little teapot. Like, yeah, I guess you could do that. That's fun. But what if the next day the guy says, I'm an elephant and I get to squash you and I get to sit on you because I'm a big fat fuck and I just want to do that? Okay. Oh, that doesn't sound great for me. That's a story I want to tell. I don't like that story. So Bitcoiners over here saying we don't really want to tell stories anymore. We just want to act in accordance with what's real. So how about you take your stories and shove it up your ass?
Love it, Del. Love it, Del. All right, before I go on to the meme review, we are running a little late, but hey, it is what it is. You guys want the as much Simply Bitcoin content as possible. But shouts out to the Orange Pill app. Make sure you download this. Stack friends at Stack Sats. As you can tell, we are going into peak clown world, and you want to be around Bitcoiners so you remember that you're not the crazy one, that everyone else is crazy. If you are the lone Bitcoiner, create a Bitcoin event, and maybe there's someone else around you. Go grab a beer. It doesn't have to be an educational event. You can just go talk to someone that understands what's going on in the world and gain some of your sanity back. So download the Orange Pill app today, Stack Sats, or Stack Friends who Stack Sats. And it's all about creating your own personal Bitcoin community. There is no Bitcoin community. There is small tribes in your area of like-minded individuals, and you want other warriors around you. This is my message. Anyways, let's get into the meme because I'm sure you guys will yell at me if I don't get to the memes.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Kaboomracks. I get this question all the time. Nico, where should I buy Bitcoin miners? The answer is Kaboomracks. It's the best place to buy Bitcoin miners. That's where you're going to find the best deals and the best prices. Start your mining utopia today. To check out their racks, you got to go to t.me/Kaboomracks. Join their Telegram group and start your mining journey today. Kaboomracks.
Kaboomracks. Kaboom. All right, guys, you already know the deal. This is the meme review. Tag me in memes on Twitter at simplybitcointv. Drop memes in our Telegram group, t.me/simplybitcoin, or, tag me at Optimus Fields. Whatever you want to do, I will scroll through them all and try to find some memes that are relevant to what the show's going to be, or maybe just some funny ones. As you can tell, I hit a little more on the relevance today. So this first one is shouts out to American Hodl, aka at American Hodl 8 on Twitter. And the classic bell curve meme. You can never go wrong with the Wojak bell curve meme. And this is dunking on the Ben McKenzie meme, and even everyone else that is saying it's just a story. Anyways, we got left side of the bell curve Bitcoiner that just says shared recognition. And then there's the midwit. Bitcoin is a story. And then we got the right side of the bell curve going, shared recognition. And as you can see, Magoo doubling down on it, shared recognition of hard money characteristics. There is very real monetary properties that make one money better than the other. It's not just a fiction that you can create unless there is a gun forcing you to do it, aka the state. Money has very real properties, and people will individually choose what the best money is, and that is what's going on with Bitcoin. As I say all the time, the Bitcoin price is a real time metric of people's understanding of what good money is, of what makes up a money, aka the money properties. Maybe I'll do that for tomorrow's culture. Anyways, this next meme is by the BTC therapist, and he goes, the greatest story ever told, hashtag Bitcoin, and it is the evolution of money. First there was barter, then there were seashells, then there was glass beads, and then, you know, rhinestones, and then gold, and then fiat, and finally now Bitcoin, because it's going up forever. And
what's the second best?
There is no second best. Let's go. Okay, guys. So this next meme is by Wojak Bitcoin Memes, or at Wojak Bitcoin. He goes, Bitcoin sets you free. And we got a Chad. We'll go with just a Chad. He's not a fully Bitcoiner yet. He's like, hey, can I open up a bank account? And we got a Bitcoin or a banker over here. And he goes, yeah, just send us your ID, your proof of address, fill these 4 pages with your personal details, and wait 5 days for us to verify everything. Whew. Sounds horrible. And then we got, the chat asking Bitcoin or, Bitcoiners, hey, what do I need to receive Bitcoin? Just install Bitcoin wallet and you're done. It's so much easier. It's so much simpler. And also you get final settlement in 10 minutes or less and digital money for the digital world. Anyways, this next meme is by Satoshi's Pet, aka at Pet Satoshi. And I didn't really make the connection with that this meme is fitting for the numbers segment that we watched today, because shitcoiners are scammers, and this is why we push so hard for YouTube, is to try to make a dent in all the shitcoin noise on YouTube, because we need more Bitcoin only content out there. Anyways, we got this big fat cat VC, and coming out his ass is a crypto YouTube channel, and you can see that the shitcoin VC is Paradigm and Anderson Horowitz and Pantera and Digital Currency Group and Master Ventures and Blockchain Capital and Boost VC and Polychain Capital and Galaxy and Consensus. And coming out his ass is the YouTube content. And over here is all the shitcoin crypto noobs out there, all the green Bitcoiners that are literally getting dumped on, obviously in the shitcoin sense, and their head is a toilet. Unplug from the shitcoin scams. Watch Bitcoin only content. Go Bitcoin only. This is the way. This is how you protect yourself. And then shouts out to ToxiCat27, always hanging out in our Telegram group. This is the classic little kid running from a gorilla riding a bicycle meme. And we got Ben McKenzie's head here, and he's the little kid running away. And what is chasing him but the gorilla on the bicycle, which is the Bitcoin Standard. Shouts out to Joe, reading 20 pages of the Bitcoin Standard and just thoroughly dunking on Ben McKenzie. Love to see it. Absolutely epic memes here. And before we move on, guys, drop your meme review score in the chat and I will cover them live. My meme review score is, I'm actually going to do a curveball. I was going to use my 99 signs you might be a Bitcoin maximalist, but at the beginning of the show, I think my birds of paradise needs more light in my room, because one of the leaves, oh, you can't see it. One of the leaves came off. It literally fell off by itself. So hopefully my plant's not dying over here, but
it's invisible.
It's my invisible birds of paradise dead plant or dead leaf. Del, what is your meme review score for today?
This guy.
Oh yeah. Hey, someone in the chat, tell us where that guy comes from. What is this?
I don't know what he's about, but I love him.
What is this? No one knows. It's just provocative. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, drop your meme review score in the chat and we will cover it live. But before we do that, you need to run a Bitcoin node. Shouts out to the boys over at Nodl. Go to nodl.eu. Get yourself a node. It can be a standalone node like these, or they have a pretty red one. Let's see if I can load this up. Red goes more faster. Powerful standalone mini computers, aka your Bitcoin node, so that you can verify your transactions so you don't have to trust anyone. Scan the QR code over there and you can get sent right to the website. And get yourself a node, man. You need to verify your transaction. I think there's a journey to being a Bitcoiner. At first, you just you buy some Bitcoin, you go onto a Bitcoin exchange, probably you get a little exposure, then you realize that Bitcoin is going to change the world, and you double down and you put in all of your net worth, and then you go to a Bitcoin wallet, probably on your phone, and then you get a little more serious and you download Bitcoin Core. Buy yourself a nodl, run a node, make sure you aren't trusting anyone with your money. This is the whole reason why we do what we do, and to be honest, why we're in the position that we are right now. So get yourself a node, and I'm going to read some of these meme review scores. I keep forgetting to get you guys music, but hey, we haven't figured out our new music yet, but we do have some meme scores here. So Del, do the meme review music.
Oh, you don't want me to do that again.
No, I'm just playing. That was funny when you did it last time, though. All right. The first one is by HODLcoin, and he goes, I give those memes the elephant from Storytime, aka Augustus Carson's Bitcoin is bigger. Yo, okay. This next meme is by Bitcoin for Canadians. I give those memes Ben McKenzie's pants on fire. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, we got a throwback meme. Shouts out to Skip on down the road. He goes, score 9 out of 10. Awesome. Throwback. We got UTXO. I give the memes an orangutan who identifies as a gorilla. Oh, was it? It's orangutan. My bad. Orangutan on the bicycle, not a gorilla. All right. My bad. Silverback gorilla maxi, though. Okay. Elaine Lowell. Lane, shouts out to you. Score. Intuition is our secret weapon. I sense Dell's 28 coming in, 24. No voting required. As people get poorer, they'll adopt Bitcoin. Couldn't agree more. Okay. Satwise Jenks. I give these memes a Joker, Penguin, and Riddler torturing Benjamin McKenzie's Shankins? Jim Gordon.
I don't know. I have no idea what that means.
But thank you for the score. Okay, this next one is Ranmore score. Simply scores again. Okay. Opti Fields. I'm not
80s music for meme review.
Yeah. Yeah. Music for meme review. Okay, got it.
I like 80s music too.
I love 80s music. All right. The last meme review score is by our boy Planet Earth. And he says, give these memes from the base layer is the faith layer quote. Our abstractions eventually will ground out in reality. Simply Bitcoin Substack for the win. If you know, you know. Let's go. Hold on. Yeah, listen. All right. Sorry, guys. Buzzer beater. All right, well, this is our show, guys. Appreciate you. We love you long time. Share all of the Bitcoin content, not just simply Bitcoin, but like, subscribe, comment, help us get pushed in the algorithms. That's the most important thing you can do. It's free, guys. Just, give us a like, share it to your friends, and give us a comment. I try to read as many as possible, but we get bombarded with bots, so forgive me if I don't comment back, but I do my best to check them all out. Anyways, Del, support our boy Del, dropping them clips, dropping that hot fire. I think let's give the people a sneak peek of this one, because he was blowing my mind earlier. I'm like, I thought I was bullish. Sheesh. Okay, we're getting stupidly bullish in the clips. What do you got for us this week, Del?
I believe it's coming out today. I think the finishing touches are being put on it. So I think it's coming out today. If not today, then I believe tomorrow. Certainly this week, though. But yeah, I've been putting some pieces together. I've been wondering for a while, how much Bitcoin do you need to change your life? And it kind of depends on when things happen and when we get onto that Bitcoin standard. But if certain things were to play out, the way I describe this is less than $1,000, and it's actually drastically less than $1,000, could get you things like a $1.5 million home, a $50,000 car, some other things. Multiple millions of dollars in today's money could be purchased in sats for less than $1,000 invested today, depending on how things go. And like, those extremes of the end are way, way, way more extreme than I'm gonna say here. But watch the clip. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah, guys, he was giving me some maths earlier, and
I am not a financial advisor. I am not a financial advisor. Absolutely, unquestionably not. I'm a storyteller. I am a storyteller. That is all I do. I tell stories.
And the story he told me before the show, I was like, man, wait, like this is some grade A hopium. We're getting stupidly bullish in the clips.
S plus tier hopium.
I thought I was bullish, and you made me feel bearish. Like, sheesh. All right, Dal. Well, appreciate you filling in. Go catch him on the timelines. That should drop around. Actually, we have an IRL later, so I don't know when it's going to drop. But Dal, appreciate you. Probably get you in pretty soon. We'll get you back in. Anyways, guys, we are in audio only form. Check us out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and we are a part of the Value for Value economy on Fountain. We're gonna do some curveballs for you guys soon. We're trying to get you guys all the content possible so that we can share this, spread it. If you guys enjoyed the show, again, give us a like, subscribe. We love you guys. We will be back tomorrow for our normal show. Nico will be back. Until then, guys, it's your boy Opti, and we are Simply Bitcoin. Peace out. It's been a great one. Stay bullish, stay fit, get mentally, physically, spiritually fit as we usher in the bright orange future. All right, guys, love you.